Welcome, everyone, to this explainer. We're jumping right into a truly mind-bending universe today, crafted by J.C. Dorset in the novel Queen Neferet. Specifically, we're going to unpack something absolutely extraordinary. We're looking at how the romantic union between Pharaoh Ahmose and Queen Neferet operates as way more than just a love story. It's literally the functional beating engine for the entire kingdom of Egypt. In this world, their intimacy is this wildly compelling mix of ancient magic, cutting-edge sci-fi tech, and the raw, gritty political survival of their realm.
Okay, let's dive into this. Forget your typical wedding day jitters, right? Because as Ahmose and Neferkad are prepping for their wedding night, they're standing under the shadow of these terrifying astrological prophecies. High Priestess Ankhesenamun delivers a chilling warning. She tells them the gods are warning of a great upheaval, one that could literally unravel the very fabric of the kingdom. The stars themselves have aligned in these unfamiliar, ominous patterns, basically signaling a massive incoming storm that threatens to tear Egypt apart. And guess what? Their union is the absolute focal point of all this cosmic tension. Part 1. The Flesh and the Cosmos. A Divine Connection.
So to understand how they actually fight this prophecy, we have to look at their physical intimacy, which is, quite frankly, a highly sensory cosmic event. In Dorset's universe, the connection between the pharaoh and the queen goes way beyond a standard romance subplot. The text defines this through a totally unique magical mechanic called divine resonance. And listen, this is not a metaphor. When Ahmose and Neferet are physically intimate, the air literally shifts and shimmers around them. There's this peculiar, literal hum that resonates right out of the walls of their chamber. They experience this pulsing cosmic energy, and a physical glowing aura, Ra's blessing, actually manifests on their skin. The energy charges the air itself, glowing with this brilliant green and gold light. It is just an intoxicating mix of grand destiny and physical reality.
What makes this so narratively striking is the massive juxtaposition here. On one hand, you have the ancient, deeply tactile artifacts of Egypt. Think the Ankh of eternal life, the Eye of Horus pressing against bare skin, the rich, heavy smoke of myrrh and frankincense. But then, on the other hand, you have this completely sci-fi bioluminescent, vibrating cosmic energy binding their souls deep within the palace. It's ancient mysticism seamlessly, perfectly woven into high-concept science fiction. It's like magic meets neon.
Let's move to Section 2, the 3 divine trials, and see how this builds. Because look, despite that incredible, powerful resonance, the gods are not easily appeased. The incredibly dense mythological lore demands 3 specific, honestly grueling rituals to purify their union and lock in that divine protection. First up is the ritual of the lotus. This is where the couple has to bathe in sacred waters and confess their absolute deepest fears and desires, holding literally nothing back. Then comes the ritual of the feather. They stand before the symbol of Ma'at to have the absolute truth of their love weighed. If any deceit lingers, they fail. Done. Finally, the union of the sun and moon, where they must perfectly align their physical bodies with the cosmos under the watchful eyes of Ra and Khonsu to ignite the divine spark. Ankhesenamun warns that the gods demand more than mere courage. They require a total surrender of the self. And that perfectly captures why these trials matter so much. The gods are demanding absolute raw vulnerability. Think about what that actually takes. This elegantly tethers their romantic and spiritual connection directly to the survival of the whole kingdom, because if they fail to be entirely honest with each other, if they hold on to their egos during these trials, the divine blessing is withheld, and if that happens, Egypt falls completely to the impending darkness.
Section 3. Betrayal from within. But of course, before they can even fully ascend to this divine state, an insidious rebellion erupts right inside the walls of the palace. And we're not talking about a mob with pitchforks and torches. No, this is highly sophisticated, high-tech sabotage. The rebels are hacking the palace server mainframes. They tamper with the bioluminescent lighting, causing it to flicker and completely fail. They even go so far as to reprogram the healing frequencies in the medical bays, which causes all these sudden, mysterious illnesses among the courtiers. And perhaps most terrifyingly, they unlock the secret pneumatic passages, creating massive blind spots in the royal surveillance systems. So how in the world did a rebellion from the south manage to breach the supposedly impenetrable royal palace? Well, the answer lies in a really devastating betrayal. Queen Neferet and Pharaoh Ahmose discover that Kepi, their highly trusted eunuch, is the mole. This is the guy who literally holds the keys to the palace's hidden mechanisms and infrastructure. When they confront him in the hidden depths of the palace, Kepi confesses. He admits he's been collaborating with the rebel faction in the south, actively helping them sabotage the systems. He traded critical, top-secret infrastructure data to the southern rebels in exchange for promises of wealth and power. The severity of this threat just cannot be overstated. Kepi endangered the very foundation of the kingdom. So, to maintain absolute order and send a ruthless, undeniable message to the rebellion, Pharaoh Ahmose orders Kepi's swift and brutal execution via a master swordsman right in front of the entire palace staff.
Section 4. Masters of the Chessboard.
Now, what's really interesting about this setup is that the execution of a traitor is just treating a symptom. Ahmose and Neferet dig deeper into the royal archives and uncover a completely chilling revelation. This rebellion, it's a divine manipulation. The texts map out a literal cosmic chess match. On their side, the royals have Ra blessing them with white, Bastet fiercely protecting the royal hearth, and Horus guiding their vision. But the ancient texts reveal that Thoth, the actual god of wisdom, is actively advising the rebels, showing them the paths to victory. It becomes terrifyingly clear that Ahmose and Neferet are pawns, or maybe players, in a massive, high-stakes game between the gods themselves. And this brilliantly illustrates how they counter that massive divine threat. They don't just rely on prayer or swords. They completely merge their unique strengths into a single, unstoppable ruling force. Ahmose focuses on divine diplomacy, performing these grand, elaborate rituals to appease the gods and secure their continued blessing. Meanwhile, Neferet utilizes her absolute technological brilliance to outmaneuver the mortal rebels. We're talking hacking surveillance systems and manually fixing the compromised pneumatic infrastructure. It is the ultimate team-up. The climax of their defensive strategy is an absolute masterpiece of techno-divine synergy. They literally merge divine offerings with cutting-edge tech. Neferet starts incorporating Wadjet's protective tech straight into the palace servers. She taps the pneumatic tubes to intercept rebel communications. And for the grand finale, they plan to use advanced technological lenses to focus Ra's golden rays into a blinding, undeniable spectacle of divine favor. It's this brilliant move to ensure their absolute power is recognized by absolutely everyone, both mortals and gods alike. So, the crucial takeaway here is this. Ahmose and Neferet's romance is beautiful, it's passionate for sure, but fundamentally it is a highly functional tripartite engine. It absolutely requires the physical magic of their divine resonance, the deep spiritual endurance to pass those demanding divine trials, and the sheer intellectual power to deploy high-tech defenses. All three parts must operate in absolute perfect harmony for Egypt to survive. Which leaves us with a really richly layered paradox to ponder at the end of all this. They fought off a rebellion by combining their brilliant technological minds and their divine physical love, right? But they did so to appease the very gods who were orchestrating the chaos in the first place. So, I leave you with this final thought. Are Ahmose and Neferet truly the masters of their own fate, carving out their destiny with technology and love? Or are they simply the most powerful, beautiful pawns on the gods' chessboard? Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning the mechanics of the world you explore.